clothes and everything finished.
Doctor said to her,
Go ahead.
You're good. All you
I'm
need-
on.
Never have
All
a
you,
cancer.
you're on, all you need to do when you're done, just close it.
Okay.
8 months later. Oh, the doctor.
All right.
I mean, can't blame them.
Well, it's 10 o'clock and
Right.
I don't think there'll be more because he moved it. And this was something, so, touch it, so. But, let's start off with prayer. Heavenly Father, we want to just set our hearts, Lord. We want to thank you for this beautiful weather that you've given us. The fall is a time that we're reminded of your beauty, Lord, how you created the trees and how beautiful you created the leaves and just the season change. It's just remarkable to see what your hand can do. Father, as we learn today about the Red Sea, I just ask that you would open our hearts, Lord, and maybe something would touch somebody today, Lord. My stomach's not feeling too good this morning, so just settle it down, Lord, and I know you're going to be in control. I thank you for what you've given me to share this morning, and I just use it to bless someone. Be with Janice as she's away, Lord, and the other ones that are not here, I pray that if there's anybody that might be sick, that you would touch them. And we will give you all the praise and glory for your Heavenly Father. We love you today. Thank you. Okay, we're in Hebrews 11, and I'm going to tell you what chapter 11 is called. The faith chapter, yes. Because it talks about the things that God did. So it's very important because even though they were done in the New Testament, it was very important because he reiterated, he did it again in the New Testament. So we are all the way down to chapter 29, verse 29. And by faith, the people passed through the Red Sea on dry land. But the Egyptians tried to do so, and they were drowned. Have you ever been out after a rain and the mud puddles?
yeah,
It takes a while to dry up.
yes,
But it says here they went through on dry land, not mud, but dry
yeah,
land.
yeah,
I just find that
Amazing.
remarkable.
yes.
Faith is so important to us, you know, and like I said, they have this story in the Old Testament, and now they're telling it again. So we're going to go and read about the Red Sea. So let's go over to
Let's read
Good
about
morning.
the Red Sea.
Good morning.
Good
Yes.
morning, good morning.
No, not
Over to Exodus 14.
Thank
Exodus.
Yes, Exodus
The next,
14.
right after,
Genesis, yes. Good morning, Ellen.
Good morning. And I read up to 7.
Well,
Knock on the Holy Spirit, God, you know.
I'm going to tell you some statistics about the Red Sea that I found very interesting. Because when I started this, I heard God say, they don't know about the Red Sea. They don't understand. Nobody thinks about the Red Sea. I mean, you know the Red Sea, but I'm going to tell you some statistics about it. It's located between Sidon and Saudi Arabia and Africa. If you ever get to a map. Now, listen to this. It's 1,500 miles long. I never even thought about that. But that's a long stretch of water. And it's 2,222 miles wide.
So then people walked all that way.
Remember, it took them 4 days.
Oh, did it? I didn't know that.
We'll go into that.
Walk right through it.
Thank you. Thank you.
See, Lord, thank you. It's and 9,000 feet deep at the deepest part. It's 4,000 to 9,000. And like I said, it was 9 to 12 miles wide. It would, it takes 16 days to swim it, to cross it. 16 days. It wouldn't take me because I
It
couldn't.
takes 16 days to cross it, but they walk it before you.
Yeah, yeah. But the Bible says,
So
swimming, yeah,
swimming is faster than walking.
yeah.
So it must have been, I'm sure it's not
Well, no, we,
as wide every year.
no, it's not. No,
Maybe they're on the edge.
yeah. It's one of the hottest and the saltiest body of water. Sometimes it's called the Salt Sea. And right now, it's the heaviest traveled waterway in the world between Europe and Asia. It's not really a red. There's red rocks in it, and it causes the water to look red. And sometimes it's redder than others, because it depends on, if the rocks get hotter, the water gets redder. I thought that was interesting. And I said 4 days. It took 4 to 5 hours to cross it. I apologize. Yeah, them walking, 4 to 5 hours walking.
That's still amazing,
Yeah.
for all that way.
So let's go, first of all, let's find out, how many people Moses took when he left the wilderness after, the 7 plagues had hit Pharaoh and he decided to let the people go. And Moses was going to lead his people. So let's go to Exodus 12:37. You got that, Michelle?
Yep.
You want to read it?
And the children of Israel journeyed from Ramesses
Yes.
to Succoth, about 600,000 on foot that were men beside children. And a mixed multitude went up with them, flocks, herds, and very much cattle. Continue.
No. That's a few people.
Yeah. 600,000.
I mean,
Plus women and children.
Yeah.
I've seen pictures of Woodstock, but, I mean, that's a lot of people. Can you imagine?
Is that how many was it? Woodstock, around 6 million?
Oh, I know. No, it was, no.
600,000?
No, I mean, that's how many were here. I
Yeah.
don't know.
Ellen was there.
I told you not to come. I know, I'm sorry.
My brother's ex-wife was there.
Oh, well,
He didn't know that. I just found that out. Somebody knew her. I can't remember who it was.
Well, I just, that's a lot of people.
I know who it was. That's not counting the cattle and everything else.
And children. Yeah. So, I mean, this was Susan?
Yeah, not only children of Israel came out of Egypt, but a mixed multitude, which means that there were other Egyptians, all kinds of people, that were alive, like other countries that were there at the time came over with them.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, it's a mixed multitude, so it wasn't just the children of
Just,
Israel.
okay, all right.
Yeah, it does say many other people went up with them.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yeah. But but can you visualize that many people? I mean, that to me was, a lot. So now, let's go down to chapter 14, and we're gonna start remember that, Exodus 14. And we're gonna start with 1, because, Pharaoh has let him go, and they're on their way into going on their trip. So, Patty, you got 14,
Yeah.
two, 1, and, 2 and 3.
And the words everyone should be the same. Speak unto the children of Israel, that they turn and encamp for Pharaoh.
Yeah, go ahead.
Which way the sea is the best. That would be.
Yeah, go ahead.
Your shall encamp by the sea.
Okay, let's stop there for me. Now, they have been walking around in the wilderness, and if they went to the sea, I mean, there was no way that they could get across unless they went all the way up, which was, you know, a lot of miles, because it was 1,500 miles long. And so God told them to camp by the sea. Okay, Patty, go ahead. 3.
For Pharaoh will say of the children of Israel, they are entangled in the land, the wilderness has shut their feet.
Uh-huh, so here we see that Pharaoh saying, they're stupid, going on this way. And, do you remember how they were led? Let's go up to 13. Barbara, do you have 13, 3:21? Yes, and verse 21.
And they the Lord went ahead of them in a pillar of cloud, to guide them on their way, by night in a pillar of fire to give them light, so that they would travel by day or night.
Okay. What's your idea of a pillar of cloud? What do you think it looked like?
Big cloud. A pillar that would be like straight up.
It was probably over them. It was over them during,
Okay, remember, now,
During the day.
picture this, there's 600,000 people. Do you think the cloud covered them all?
yes.
Do you?
Because they were in the wilderness during the day, so the heat of the sun to not cover them over.
Was
So-
it like a mist, do you think?
No, I think it was a cloud. It was, and then kind of like a clouded fog or something like that.
I think it was like a mist to keep them too, because this is the desert now. This is the wilderness, remember?
But it had to look different from other clouds.
Oh, yes,
It
yeah.
didn't look like a
Yeah,
regular.
it had to look different.
Yeah.
Okay, and fire, what, no, let's think about that.
Kind of thunder maybe?
Well, it says that showed, so they could walk at night. So it had to be, it couldn't be a little spark.
It had to be miraculous.
I mean,
It didn't look like something we
we would not,
Yeah.
because it led them by night, so they could walk at night.
It was probably like a huge lamp. But
I-
it lit
that's-
it.
The Bible doesn't say it, but it's, I mean, these are questions, that are curious to me.
Yeah.
I mean, was it like a fire leaping, or was it, just like a light, a cloud that had the fire in it, or? The Bible doesn't say, or not that I know, but this is just curious questions
Yeah.
that, I find
It's amazing.
interesting. That you never think about. I just find it interesting. So now we find out that Pharaoh's got upset because the Egyptians was doing all his work, the labor, building, making the bricks and stuff and building for him and everything, and now he doesn't have his source of labor. So he has a change of heart. So he decides, you know what he decides? He's gonna go get them. He's had enough of this and he wants it back. So let's read in, chapter 14. Ellen, can you do 6 and 7 for us, please?
So he had his chariot made ready and took his army with him. Took 600 of the best chariots along with all the other chariots of Egypt with officers all over all of them.
Okay. 600 chariots. And all, I mean, there were the men yeah, and in the army too. And he's excited, 'cause they're by the sea, and he knows that, you know, there's no way out for him, and he's gonna,
He thinks he's got them.
he's got him, he's in charge, and he's got him. Let's, slip down to verse 10, and 14. Rosalie, can you read verse 10?
Pharaoh drew near, the children of Israel lifted their eyes, and behold, the Egyptians marched after them. So they were afraid, and the children of Israel cried out to the Lord. Then they said to Moses, because there were no graves in Egypt, have you taken us away to die in the wilderness? Why have you so dealt with us to bring us up out of Egypt?
Okay, here they go. The Egyptians are whining. They see the chariots coming, and they're, 600 chariots and men and approaching, and they start to whine. Is this typical of the Egyptians?
Yeah.
Yep. That's-
All of us. Children, is this typical of children of Israel?
No, yes, yes. Yes. I'm sorry, yes. Yeah, they complained a lot to Moses. I mean, you know, what were they gonna eat, what were they gonna do, and now here they are complaining again and saying, you know, you brought us here, nobody has died here, but you're gonna leave our graves here. And then, let's continue reading there. 12, Susan.
That is not this what we said to you in Egypt, leave us alone that we may serve the Egyptians. Keep going.
Yes.
For it would have been better for us to serve the Egyptians than to die in the wilderness.
Now, these guys were in slavery. I mean, they had a rough life. Here now they're saying they would rather be with the Egyptians than to die in the desert. But Susan, go on and let's see what Moses has to say.
And Moses said to the people, fear not, stand firm and see the salvation of the Lord, which he will work for you today. For the Egyptians whom you see today, you will never see again. The Lord will fight for you, and you have only to be silent.
So, what was Moses demonstrating there?
Deliverance.
What we talking about, his faith.
Yes. Well, it says here deliverance too.
Yes, well, but
Yes, faith, yes,
he
faith.
had faith that God was going to take care of him. That's why this is so important. And Moses always had to have a demonstration. I mean, when God told him something, he had to have proof of it. It just wasn't good enough. So, you know, in the burning, he was talking in the, he had to do the burning bush, you know, and Moses, God told him to take off his sandals, and he said, I'm not taking off my sandals, it's too hot. And God said, take off the sandals. But he was the one that every time God told him something, he had to be shown. He had to be shown. So, I found that very interesting.
Maybe you want to make sure it was really God talking to him?
Yeah, it could be. All right, Michelle, read what the Lord said to Moses.
Chapter 15, right? And the Lord said unto Moses, wherefore criest thou unto me? Speak unto the children of Israel, that stretch out thine hand over the sea, and divide it. And the children of Israel shall go on dry ground through the midst of the sea.
Okay. Now, can you imagine, Moses saying, okay, we're gonna cross the Red Sea, and it's gonna part. Okay, Patty, if you were in, God's pool and, cast that up and divide the water. I'm gonna hold up my staff and divide the water, what would you tell me?
I'd be scared.
Can you imagine the Egyptians?
I don't even know what he was smoking.
I mean, here is this body of water that we know that is like, large. And you're telling us that God's gonna, make a way for us?
But you have to pick the thing,
Well, that's why it's so important about this part of the Bible. It's the faith that Moses had that God was going to do that. So Moses stepped up. Now let's see what okay, 17, Patty?
verse 17.
Yes, 17.
Thou shalt bring them in and plant them in the mountain of.
I know, you're old. 14. 14.
Sorry.
14. That's okay.
I, behold, I will harden the hearts of the Egyptians, and they shall bow them. And I will give the iron on Pharaoh and on all his hosts, on his chariot and on his horses.
Okay. Barbara, let's go. I like this part. Go ahead and read 19 and 20.
The angel of God that they traveled in front of Israel's army for 3 days and went behind them. The pillar of cloud also moved from the front and stood behind them, coming between the armies of Egypt and Israel throughout the night. The cloud brought darkness to one side and light to the other side. Neither went near the other all the way.
Wow, that's amazing. That is amazing.
I mean, God took that cloud and put it between the Egyptians and the Israelites. Now, they were that close. I mean, they probably could hear him talking.
It was like a wall.
Yeah, instead of up overhead, it was a cloud of wall. Do you see all the miracles that God did in a small
That one day.
It's just, they're miracles. They're miraculous miracles. I just find it amazing. And if God did it then, he can do it today. But we do not have that faith. I think to have faith, and then when things get hard, wishy-washy. Daniel 17 says, "Raise your faith." But it's hard to believe. God did every detail. He thought out every detail. All right, so now let's go down to verse 21. Okay. Ellen, you want to read that? And 22?
And Moses stretched out his hand over the sea, and all that night the Lord drove the sea back with a strong east wind and turned it into dry land.
Okay, stop there for just a minute. What was your vision of what Moses did when he had put the staff up? You think it was immediately? Is that what you thought when you destroyed the Red Sea? Okay.
I was picturing Charlton Heston.
Yeah, holding up the thing and it's right.
That was the best.
But it says that he did it all night. And today, they we still have those eastern winds in the Red Sea that on some occasions it'll dry up certain parts of the Red Sea.
It probably opened up as they went and then closed
Well,
as soon as they got through. You know what I'm saying?
well, a scholar told me that they started in and got up to their knees, and then and up to their necks, the elders did. And then it started to recede. So I never read that in the Bible, but I was told that, so. But, I think sometimes we had a vision that he held up his stick and it automatically did. But here we find out that it took all night to do it. Susan, you look like you have something to say here.
Oh, no, I'm just listening.
So, okay, sorry to interrupt there. Ellen, can you?
The waters were divided, and the Israelites went through the sea on dry ground, with a wall of water on their right and on their left.
Go ahead.
The Egyptians pursued them, and all of Pharaoh's horses and chariots and horsemen followed them into the sea.
Rosalie, you want to pick up there?
Now it came to pass in the morning watch that the Lord looked down upon the army of the Egyptians in a pillar of fire and cloud, and he troubled the army of the Egyptians, and he took off their chariot wheels, and they drove them with difficulty. And the Egyptians said, Let us flee from the face of Israel, for the Lord fights for them against the Egyptians.
Here the Israelites went through dry land. And I can imagine, the Egyptians, well, they did it, and then when they started through, I often wonder about chariots, if the mud had started to come, the Lord had started to do the procedure of putting the water back, and the mud was the first thing to come, because it distinctly tells you that the chariots were having trouble. And
I wish you could save the horses though. But that's,
but it just, God thought of everything. I mean, I just find it remarkable things about it. Okay, Susan, 27, let's start there here.
27.
Yes.
So Moses stretched out his hands over the sea, and the sea returned to its former course when the morning cleared. And as the Egyptians fled into it, the Lord threw the Egyptians through the. Okay, let's say that. As the Egyptians fled into it, the Lord threw the Egyptians into the midst of the sea. Is that it?
Keep going.
Okay. And the waters returned and covered the chariots and the horsemen, and all the hosts of Pharaoh that had followed them into the sea. Not one of them remained.
Okay, Michelle, you got one.
but the children of Israel walked upon dry land in the midst of the sea, and the waters were a wall unto them on their right hand and on their left. The 32.
Yeah, finish it.
Thus the Lord saved Israel that day out of the hand of the Egyptians. And Israel saw the Egyptians dead upon the seashore. And Israel saw that great work which the Lord did upon the Egyptians. And the people feared the Lord and believed the Lord and his servant Moses.
You just, wanted to, go into detail about what Moses did. I just think it's how God did worked out every little detail. If he could do it then, he can do it for us.
Yes.
But I think that we're lacking the faithfulness as these people Of course, they did too, and they whined and everything. But that to me was very interesting, how God planned everything out. And you know, that it says that the strong eastern winds dried up, and today they still say that the eastern winds in there.
Well, I think a lot of people can explain the burning of the Red Sea with that. My son-in-law told me that he knows how that happened. Because it can still happen with the winds, when the winds
Yeah.
blow a certain way.
God, yeah. I think he kept it in place, so, hello, I did it once, I can do it again.
Right, well, it was obviously God, if there were walls of water on each side, that's not just the wind blowing.
Right.
Exactly.
Yeah. You know, every believer at one time or another has a Red Sea. We are all confronted with those times which we don't know whether we can make it, or what's going to happen,
Test your faith.
and our doubts. There's situation that there's no escape, only that through God. Throughout the scriptures, we witness God's amazing acts and marvelous miracles. We realize that God knows what he's doing. He knew what he was doing with Moses and the Israelites, and he knows what he's doing with us today. In those days when you think, you know, like this morning, when I take certain medicines, I get sick. And I was sick this morning when I went. And I started praying and said, I am not going to let this get me down, and I feel good. But what do you do when the Red Sea approaches? One thing we have to remember about our Red Sea is that God put us there for a reason. It's not by accident. And even whatever Red Sea you're facing, it's because God wants you to. And it's teaching us about our trust and our faith, and trying to get us to have the same faith as Moses. But Moses doubted lots of times too. And that's our humanness. So when you find yourself in a Red Sea moment, you can typically anticipate that the sea's going to dry up and everything's going to be great. When you see the bills are due and there's not enough money to go around, or somebody hurts you, or you're sick and in pain, you're discouraged, you feel defeated, knowing not what to do, you stop and realize that God can handle your Red Sea. You have to realize you can't do it by yourself. There's no way. You might have your husband or mother or dad, but you need God. We have to remember what we're taught. Sometimes when we're in those situations, we forget that God told us that he would never forsake us, that he would be there with us all the time. Sometimes I think we forget. We can be the best Christian there is, but we forget that God's there. And we forget to call on him when you need something. The most overlooked part of the Red Sea moment is that God put them there. He put them by the sea because he was going to show them that miraculous miracle. And in our lives today, we're facing the Red Sea. God can do the same miracles. It just requires our faith. our faith is something that we have to develop, and that's what Janice has been trying to do through the faith chapter. It requires a lot of trust, and our problems are not going to go away quickly or easy just by parting the Red Sea. Sometimes they linger. But we have to know that God uses all situations to benefit you and it will glorify His name for what He does. It's a moment that sustains you through a lifetime of pain and brings you moments of joy. It's okay to be afraid, but don't let it take over you. Don't let it take your faith away. For faith is stronger than any fear, and God is stronger than any situation that we can face. Your Red Sea moment could well be your divine moment of your life. So if you're facing the Red Sea today, I want you to rejoice, pray, and give thanks to God, knowing that He's there. He's in control. You're there for a reason. And He loves you. See, you got anything? All right, Danny, can we start? Huh? I think this is good. Michelle?
I just say I learned a lot today, thank you. I really did.
Susan?
I like when it says in 13:21 that the Lord Himself went before them, and He was the pillar by day and the fire by night. And when we go through situations and circumstances, knowing that He goes before us, there's another place in the Bible where it says He led them by the hand out of Egypt. So He's like a father. He is a father. And He takes our hand through the situation. He doesn't allow us to escape it because we're going to learn something. We're going to grow it out of it, right? Just like we didn't take the children out of the fire. He was in there, right? He protected them, and same with us.
Same with Daniel, he's remind them of that. You checked, was there, did I not put 3 men in and I see 4? But we don't have that faith. I mean, I think about if somebody could put me in a party service, I know. But they said, I put 3 men in there and there's 4. So, why should we be afraid in a hospital room? God's in that room with you. He's right there with you. Why should we be afraid to, I don't know, go to a job interview? God's with you. Rosalie?
The word that came to me when we were reading it is the Lord will fight for you and you shall hold your peace. And I think sometimes we just have to not try to fight for ourselves. We just have to be some kind of we're not trying to do what we can do it ourselves. Instead of hold your peace and hold your fight instead of God fighting for you.
Well, I have days with this election coming up and all the chaos and all the craziness where I can allow that to play in my head. And it's kind of like facing the sea, like, all right, I don't know how this is gonna work out, or what's gonna happen. But at that point, do you trust God and believe that nothing happens without Him allowing it? And like you said, He promises us that He'll never leave us and never forsake us. So what is it that we're anxious about? So I just have to remind myself of that. How many times does He say, do not fear, do not be anxious?
think of those in the Red Sea.
Yeah.
You know,
What do you think that looked like to them? Like, I'm surprised they couldn't run, but.
No, but, and
It
to
takes
see
a
a,
lot of
see a wall between them, you know, to look back and they couldn't even see them. Obviously, they couldn't even see the Egyptians.
God was
For
very
all
gracious.
night. I mean, here they knew that they were after them. And there was a lot of them. And during the night, there was a wall. But they couldn't see them and didn't attack.
You don't wanna pay attention to what's in front of you. You wanna pay attention to what's above you.
Very good.
Yeah.
That's good. That's good. Barb?
I'm still working on things, I get overwhelmed a lot.
Yes. Barb, I just shared with, Barb's husband cannot get around too good. And he's on dialysis and Barb has to take him times a week. And it's very stressful for her, very stressful for her.
Your dryer that breaks, you try to fix it yourself, and it doesn't work because you can't find it.
Just one extra thing.
Yeah. Wonder why you do that. But when I got this tool, I said, okay, why is it getting infected? But it's okay.
Why did I keep, when you practice, you gotta learn to release it. Once you're trained, you gotta.
Yeah,
I would
we
say
don't,
we're
we
just
don't let
like
go of
it.
it. We don't let go of it.
You gotta take it, I can. That's my main story. And like, that's hard, water for you is hard. But today when you had, I know we all have things, I'm not saying, good, but kind of,
Yeah.
be off.
I like it when on prayer meeting, Tuesday night, Rosalie always closes and she said, Lord, we're laying our petitions at the other cross. Let us leave them there. Because so many, we put them there and then next day we pick them up and they're on our backs again.
Yeah.
That's, that's our problem. And I think I shared with you, I was praying that the Lord would heal Matthew. He would, when he was first born, please heal him, Lord, please heal him. And then he said, I'll heal him when I'm ready, and I changed my prayer. And I said, Lord, you heal in your time, in your time. Because, he had his first birthday party, and his smile is contagious. He might have all those little hoses and everything, but his smile is contagious, and it speaks to people. So, he's using it in another way. But I know in my heart God's going to heal us. And I know that, but it's going to be in his time. And when we're expecting it, because I'm faithful, and I know a lot of you are faithful too. God's going to hear those prayers, and he's going to answer them. So, well, that's all I got to say, people.
Good.
Now, look, Jess, you're gone for 2 weeks or 1 week? I thought that too.
I don't know, I didn't, Brad didn't say anything about that, so, he just called Thursday and asked me to do it. So, but I hope you learn something.
I always still see a picture of them going through the Red Sea, and then once they're there, and then the other ones come with the chariots, and then the rivers like just drowning them.
Yeah, goes right back
The pictures
up.
are wide, I don't know.
Embellishes it.
Yeah, exactly.
We all have visions of it. I just never realized how big the Red Sea was, I guess. And, when I started guess it was for me to realize how big it was. I don't look at the maps over there. But, it wasn't a prick. It's all.
Looks like it's still on, right?
Oh, well, just told me to shut it down and go off. Okay, well. You're 15 minutes early, so sorry about that. I hope everybody enjoyed it anyway.
It's not the quantity, it's the quality.
Oh.
Something says we have to be here for an hour. I appreciate you doing it.
Yeah.
It was more than on my heart.
There's something in here that's right. And for all I can think of, I look near it, it's sort of. I mean,
Yeah. Susan, I hope you enjoyed it.
Oh, absolutely.
Oh, good.
Somebody take some donuts, take the donuts. I'll take the open ones, and we'll take the one make the open. Yeah, take them out with you. If you're mad, I'll eat them.
He's watching it every.
they all.
Have you made a decision? Sure.
We just went through my.
We'll see you, everyone.
Bye, sweetie.
Bye.
The alternate one of my house was something like this. It's not my dad's,
Someone take the open ones. Somebody take the open.
and then you need a new battery, it says no. Then the next. Already pre-filled. You know how stuff like that happens? So, I don't want you to feel overwhelmed. I would be really back. Or my.
So I'll let them go there. Read it. Oh, she's worried about. I don't blame her. I said, I'm not blame her. See you, Rose. See ya, honey.
Bye, Rosalie.
Mine's out there doing the, what do you call it? The wood.
Oh, wouldn't wood.
No, not splitting it, moving the ones that are split over, get back right in condition to it. And then, I guess once all that's done, she's going to split it back. It's like pretty real split.
Yeah.
So, because that's out there, showing the top power.
So what drew your attention?
Actions.
Yeah.
You got it.
Yeah.
There was all butterflies directly in my house.
What are you gonna go?
Right. I'm still here, why you answer the phone? It's important, I'll call you back. So where it is, when it's called.
I called the dentist first thing at 7 o'clock.
Yeah,
I said, I have to have something. I know such pain. And so he called in and I took him to those. By afternoon,
I'm not sure if I should bring up what happened.
and I called, I said, I have to have something today. Now, I have my knee operated on, I have my shoulder done, and I never used a pain pill. Never took a pain pill, did I?
I want to say it's like 4.
There was a post, and it was a crown with a post,
And then.
and the post was in my jawbone, and he had to draw the post out. I was in there 3 hours, and I lost a pint of blood. So then they said, well, Dr. Bonner doesn't have license to do narcotics, so call your other doctor. Well, then I called the nurse there, and she said, well, then somebody, the other dentist in his practice should be giving you that. I said, I don't know, so, I got home and I left a message on that answer machine, cause Austin's game, and I went to, me and the great grandma,
Sometimes
do it, and it was hard, and it was 7 o'clock. Or,
Friday.
so I called the doctor, I called him, he called it, it's giving me a back. And then I always get sick when I take it. At least the pain's gone.
Do you eat when you take antibiotics?
Oh, yeah. But the pain was just,
That's the beauty of Amazon.
Yeah.
Lots of options. It's very nice stuff.
Barbie, Alex, when she first started coming, I told her about Bible study, and she said, oh, I can't because Bruce has Tuesdays. And I said, well, I'm gonna start praying that they changed it. And, she said, I would, but, it's so hard to get another slot. And I said, I understand. So last week, I came in, I said, what are you doing here? She said, they changed it. So, they answered the prayer.
I'm trying to send my insurance in, paid, Scott called and paid with his credit card. Somebody got her credit card.
Yeah, that's what you said.
And he got his new credit card in the mail. So he called and this chick's saying, you're not paid. You are paid.
You know that happens more time than not at gas stations.
Yeah.
Really?
They put these faces over the card reader.
Yeah.
Well, this was on the phone, he called the insurance company. And did
No, I'm
his credit.
saying
Credit, you get
the credit card number usually is stolen at a gas station. So
Oh,
when you
yeah.
get gas, make sure that it doesn't.
Yeah.
move.
Yes, I told him
I
that.
never use a card in there, I go inside.
Yeah,
That's your best bet.
yeah, you're right, I talked about that. You should know.
Between me and John.
Okay, ladies, I hope you enjoyed.
Somebody please take them donuts, brand new to eat, and somebody will eat them. House.
I'm dropping that in the
There you go, okay, that works. Somebody will eat them.
Okay, I'll eat this stuff. I know they don't, that's fine, I don't care. I ain't got to deal with them, you do.
Relax.
Have a good day.
You too. Yes, you too.
She didn't throw away my Bible.
Well, they got rid of everything else.
Yeah.
I want to take a ride over to,
All right, dear.
See you, honey.
Okay.
I'm good for my damn insurance paid. You know,
What?
I want my insurance paid.
Yeah, it should be. Are we turning this off?
Yeah. I don't know. We're not shut it off. There you go. Shut this light off.
So I was going to go over, I don't know where it's at. I did GPS. I was going to go over to the JD. No, the big